Hello, my friend. Before we begin our journey tonight, I invite you to simply relax, take a deep breath in, and slowly let it go again. In and out, let the weight of the day slip away like a pebble falling gently into water. Feel the stillness around you. Perhaps you can imagine the quiet creak of old wooden beams above your head, or the soft rustle of curtains swaying in a night breeze. Your body grows heavier with every breath. Your shoulders soften, your arms and legs loose and restful. Your mind, like a calm tide, slowly ebbing and flowing. There is nothing you need to do now. Nowhere to be, only here, listening, imagining, and drifting. And so, our story tonight begins. It begins in a small village along the English coast. Long ago, a place called St. Ives. The sea laps quietly against the shore, a hush-hush rhythm, as if the earth itself were breathing. Cobblestone streets wind down to the harbor, where fishing boats rest gently in the tide. Above, little cottages with slate roofs lean into the wind, their windows glowing faintly with candlelight. But the true magic of St. Ives appears not on land, but upon the water. For each night, when the air grows cool and the gulls fall silent, the fisherfolk light their lanterns, little flames, set gently upon the waves, lanterns that bob and drift, flickering like stars fallen from the heavens. They guide the boats home safely, through mist and shadow, and they whisper comfort to all who watch from the shore. In this story, there is a girl, a young one, with hair as dark as wet stone, and eyes that shine like the sea under moonlight. Her name is Ives, and each evening she helps her father set the lanterns afloat. She carries them carefully, her small hands cradling each light as though it were alive. She imagines them as stars that had grown tired of the sky, choosing instead to rest upon the gentle waves. Each lantern to her carries a dream, a wish, a secret. Tonight, as the dusk deepens into night, Ives stands at the water's edge. The lanterns flicker in her arms, their glass warm against the cool air. Her father works beside her, weathered and steady, tying knots and checking lines. But she lingers, staring at the horizon where the last blush of sunset has melted into indigo. The first lantern she sets upon the water floats slowly outward. Its reflection shimmers, stretching like molten gold across the dark surface. Then another, and another, until soon the harbor is dotted with gentle lights, like a constellation fallen into the tide. The waves cradle them tenderly, rocking them back and forth. The night air hums softly with a sound of crickets among the grasses. Far off, a dog barks once, then silence returns. Ives kneels by the shore, her chin resting on her arms, and whispers quietly to the nearest lantern. "You are a little star," she tells it, her voice hushed, as if sharing a secret. "You are here to keep them safe." The lantern bobs, as if nodding in agreement. Her father, watching from the boat, smiles faintly. "You talk to them every night," he says, his voice like gravel softened by years of kindness. "Do they answer you, my little one?" Ives only nods, still gazing into the light. "Not with words, but I feel them listening." Her father chuckles, but there is no mockery in his sound, only a quiet respect, for in his heart, he too knows that the sea holds secrets. And perhaps the lanterns carry them. The tide pulls gently outward, drawing the lanterns farther into the dark. They seem to hover in place, unmoving, like beads upon a string, glowing faintly in the salt air. And overhead, the first true stars appear, pricking the velvet sky with silver. The world is still, almost suspended. The sea, the sky, and the lanterns, all breathing together. Ives closes her eyes. In her mind, each flame becomes a story. One lantern holds the memory of a sailor returning home. Another holds the laughter of children playing in the surf. Another, perhaps, carries a prayer whispered by someone far away. The lanterns know, and the lanterns keep their secrets safe. Far in the distance, the faint creak of oars can be heard. The boats are returning. The fishermen, guided by the little lights, row steadily toward shore. One by one, the boats slip into the harbor. Men call softly to one another, voices hushed by the stillness of night. The lanterns flicker brighter, as though welcoming them back. Ives watches, her heart swelling with a warmth that spreads like firelight through her chest. This, she thinks, is the lantern's gift. They are not just lights, they are guardians, silent companions upon the water. The boats dock, ropes creak, nets are gathered, and still, the lanterns float, their flames unbothered by the gentle rise and fall of the tide. Ives feels her eyelids grow heavy as she leans against her father's side. The rhythm of the waves, the glow of the lanterns, the soft hum of voices, all blend into a lullaby. "Time for sleep, little one," her father whispers. But Ives only murmurs, "Just a little longer." The night grows darker now. The sky, a deep velvet blue, carries the faintest shimmer of stars. Clouds roll slowly, lazily, across the horizon, their edges lit by moonlight. Ives breathes in the salt of the sea. It settles on her lips, cool and briny, and her little heart feels full. For here, in this quiet place between shore and stars, everything feels safe. Everything feels whole. Her father busies himself with ropes and nets, but Ives' gaze drifts outward, following the lanterns. One floats farther than the rest, rocking steadily upon the tide. It seems almost determined, as if it has somewhere to go. She whispers to it again, You're leading the way tonight, aren't you? The lantern flickers, as though answering a gentle pulse of flame that seems to say, yes. I will show the path. From the cottage windows above the harbor, warm candlelight glows faintly, watching like sleepy eyes. A cat slips silently along the stone wall, tail brushing against the moss. Somewhere in the distance, a door creaks and closes. And then, only the sound of waves remains. The lanterns drift farther, their glow thinning across the water, until they appear like constellations scattered upon the tide. The moon itself peers down, silver and calm, its light spilling like milk across the harbor. Ilawan hugs her knees to her chest. She feels her eyelids heavy, but she resists. She doesn't want to miss the moment when the last lantern fades into the sea. To her, it feels like saying goodbye to a friend. Her father notices her drowsy gaze. You know, he says softly, my mother used to tell me that lanterns don't just guide us, they listen, they hold wishes. She believed every flame carries a voice, and when the tide takes it out to sea, the ocean remembers. Ilawan tilts her head, wide-eyed, her hair falling into her face. Do you think the sea keeps the wishes forever? Her father smiles, placing a hand on her small shoulder. I like to believe it does. The sea is old, older than any of us. It remembers everything. Ilawan lets the thought rest inside her like a pebble in her pocket. The sea remembers, and perhaps so do the lanterns. Time drifts on. The harbor grows quieter. One by one, the cottages fall dark as families settle into sleep. But Ilawan, she lingers. Her breath is slow, her body warm against the wooden pier. The waves seem to whisper her name, carrying it gently out and back again. Ilawan, Ilawan. Or perhaps it is only the wind through the grasses. But to her it feels alive. As her father finishes tying the last knot on the boat, he glances back at her. Her head has dipped to one side, her dark hair covering her face, her arms still wrapped tightly around her knees. Her eyes flutter open and closed, heavy with sleep, but each time they close, she forces them open again. He chuckles quietly. You'll dream of lanterns anyway, little one, he murmurs, whether you watch them or not. Ilawan lifts her head just enough to whisper back, I want to see them become stars again. Her father looks outward, at the horizon where the lanterns now glow faintly, distant and small. They already are stars, my love. They're just visiting us for a while. The tide swells and sighs. The lanterns drift farther, their flames softened by distance, until they blend with the real stars above. It becomes hard to tell which is sea and which is sky, which is lantern and which is star. Ilawan blinks slowly, her lashes brushing against her cheeks. The world blurs, the glow of lanterns melting into soft golden orbs. Her breaths grow longer, slower, deeper, and as she drifts at last into sleep, she dreams. In her dream, the lanterns lift not downward into the tide, but upward, into the air. They rise, one by one, drifting weightless above the sea. Each flame becomes a tiny star, floating past her with a hush of wings unseen. She stands barefoot on the shore, the cool sand pressing between her toes, and watches as the lanterns gather into constellations. A fox leaps across the sky, made of flame. A ship sails through the heavens, its sails glowing with firelight. A circle of stars weaves itself into a crown, shining brighter than the moon. She feels no fear, only wonder, only peace. The dream carries her higher, as if she too is weightless, as if she too could rise with the lanterns and drift into the gentle embrace of night. Back on the pier, her father lifts her carefully into his arms. Her head rests against his shoulder, her breathing steady and calm. The lanterns still float far out in the harbor, their glow faint but steady. He walks slowly up the cobbled path toward their cottage, the boards creaking beneath his boots. The air is cool, carrying the scent of seaweed and wood smoke. Above, the stars shimmer faintly, quiet companions in the darkness. Inside the cottage, the fire has burned low, casting a faint amber glow across the walls. He lays her gently upon her small bed, tucking a wool blanket beneath her chin. Her lips curl into a faint smile, as though she still whispers secrets to her lanterns even in sleep. Her father watches her for a moment longer, then blows out the candle by her bedside. Darkness settles, soft and complete. But in the distance, beyond the window, the lanterns still glow upon the sea. And to Ilawan, even in her dreams, they whisper, you are safe. You are loved. Drift, little one. Drift into the tide of sleep. In the stillness of her dream, Ilawan floats. There is no weight to her body, no pull of the earth. Only the hush of air, the shimmer of light, and the tender rocking of unseen waves beneath her. The lanterns surround her now, hundreds, perhaps thousands of them, each glowing softly, their flames steady and calm. They drift past her face like living fireflies, warm yet cool, near yet untouchable. She reaches out a hand, and one lantern slows, as though waiting for her. The flame inside is steady, golden, pulsing like a heartbeat. It feels alive. She whispers again, just as she did upon the pier, tell me your secret. And for the first time she hears it answer, not in words, not in sound, but in feeling, a warmth in her chest, a knowing, gentle and deep. The lantern carries not just light, but memory and echo of all those who lit it before. She sees visions within its glow. A fisherman years ago, setting the lantern upon the sea, whispering the name of his lost brother. A child, younger than Eloin, giggling as she placed a lantern on the water, pretending it was a tiny boat racing against the tide. A woman standing on the shore, her lantern trembling in her hands as she prayed for her husband's safe return. Every lantern holds a story, every flame a voice, and the sea. The sea remembers them all. Eloin's dream carries her onward. The lanterns form a path across the night sky, a glittering trail leading somewhere beyond the horizon. She follows, weightless, drifting with the tide of light. The sky above grows deeper, darker, yet filled with endless stars. Some twinkle naturally, others pulse like lanterns. It becomes impossible to know where the sea ends and the heavens begin. And so she walks, yes, walks, though her feet make no sound, no imprint, as though the air itself has turned into water, and she is light enough to float upon it. Far ahead, a glow brighter than the rest begins to rise. A lantern larger, warmer, stronger. Its flame hums with power, with history, with memory older than the town of St. Ives itself. Eloin's breath catches. She feels both drawn and humbled, as if approaching something sacred. The great lantern waits for her, steady and patient, its light spilling like golden waves. When she comes close, she sees within it not one memory, not one wish, but countless. 1,000 voices whisper softly, overlapping yet harmonious, like waves upon the shore. She hears laughter, she hears lullabies, she hears prayers carried on salt and wind. It is then she understands. The lanterns are not just guides for boats, they are guides for souls. The great lantern tilts gently toward her as though bowing in greeting, and Eloin, though small, though young, bows her head in return. "Will you remember me too?" she asks softly. The lantern flares bright warm, surrounding her with light that feels like an embrace. It does not need words. She already knows the answer. Yes, the sea will remember. The lanterns will remember. And she, in turn, will remember them. But even in the dream, a heaviness begins to settle in her chest. Her eyelids flutter. Her limbs feel heavy once more. The dream is shifting, softening, preparing to let her go. She clutches one last lantern close to her heart. It does not burn her. Instead, it melts gently into her chest, glowing from within, as though a flame has chosen to stay with her. When she wakes, she knows she will not forget. The lanterns of St. Ives will always be with her. Back in the quiet cottage, Eloin stirs faintly beneath her wool blanket. Her lips part in a sleepy sigh, and for the faintest moment, a golden glow flickers beneath her eyelids, but only for a heartbeat. Outside, the tide carries the real lanterns farther into the sea. The harbor is calm, the air is hushed, and the stars above keep their patient watch. Her father, sitting in the chair beside her bed, leans back and closes his own weary eyes. The night folds around them both like a quilt, stitched with waves, wind, and light, and somewhere between the waking world and dreams, lanterns drift still, guiding, remembering, whispering softly to any who will listen. Hush, rest now, drift into sleep. And so, dear dreamer, the lanterns drift ever outward, carrying their soft golden memories across the dark waters. Somewhere, far at sea, they will flicker until dawn, and then, as morning comes, their little flames will fade, like stars folding into daylight, but their light remains. It lives in the waves, it lives in the sky, and perhaps most of all, it lives quietly within you like a secret flame, steady and kind, never extinguished. Eloin will grow, as children always do. She will tend the lanterns year after year, setting them upon the tide with careful hands and a heart full of wonder. And each time, she will remember that night when the sea itself whispered back to her. And you, too, may remember tonight, not with sharp details but with a feeling, a hush of waves, a flicker of light, a warmth in your chest, as though some lantern, some memory, has chosen to glow softly within you. So now, let the hush of the tide cradle you. Let the cool sea breeze brush gently over your thoughts. Let the flicker of lanterns guide you deeper and deeper into rest. The story fades, but the calm remains. The lanterns of St. Ives will keep watch out on the water, in the sky, and in your dreams. Good night, sleep well, and may the lanterns always guide you home.